I want you to watch this clip. It's about a minute, and then we break it down. It is a very important message for all of us.
I take my time very valuable, so I'm gonna ask all those questions before the first date. If you're actually getting the privilege to like go on a date with me, that's a big step. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, you're picky with the men that you date?
There it goes. Yeah.
Do they got to be taller than you?
I mean, I'm 5'5", so yeah.
Okay. Do they got to earn more than you?
Of course.
Being more intelligent or competent than yourself?
Of course.
So the man that you're looking for more than likely is kind of rare. Would you say most men are unattractive to you?
No.
So by definition, you're selective and you're picky.
Correct.
Now, do you think the man that you're going to go out with more than likely is as selective as you?
Yeah, I would think so.
No, they're not. But you guys, on the other hand, I need to be tall, I need to be charming, I need to be cool. Money, yeah. She went with some millionaires, and she said they're not interesting, they don't have a vibe. So it's very hard to please women. So the reality is, if you're going out on a date with a guy, that means he's been vetted to some degree. It's really your privilege to go out with him.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so now you saw the clip, and here it seems to me that the way they try to make people think is that women today in the Western society are extremely demanding. It's almost like it's impossible to date them or to do anything with women as a man if you're not somebody. So let's break this down piece by piece, all right? So first,
very valuable, so I'm gonna ask all those questions before the first date. If you're actually getting the privilege to like go on a date with me, that's a big step. Yeah.
So first, she's saying that she's going to put a lot of questions out there to qualify the guy if that person even have the chance to actually go out on a date with her. And she also, using the word privilege, meaning that she sounds like she values herself quite high or very high, and she will not waste time. She wants to have a man that is like on the equal level in terms of passive value. Because here she knows that her attractiveness level make men quite weak and they will do anything for her. So she knows that she had that kind of power, which is true actually. And but in some way she didn't find so many men that she feel fit her. And therefore, she going to put this list of very attractive passive value traits in order to see if that guy can be someone she can share a future relationship with. Anyway, so that's what she's saying.
Curiosity, you're picky with the men that you date?
There it goes. Yeah.
Do they got to be taller than you?
I mean, I'm 5'5", so yeah.
Okay. Do they got to earn more than you?
Of course.
Being more intelligent or competent than yourself?
Of course.
So the man that you're looking for more than likely is kind of rare. Would you say most men are unattractive to you?
No.
So by definition, you're selective.
Here is something interesting. So what Myron was doing here was basically to give her the logical explanation of what makes a man attractive. And he mentioned, how tall, and he also mentioned how much he should earn and all those traits. And the funny part is like, oh, but when he mentioned to her that most men are not like that, so aren't most men unattractive towards you then? And she's like thinking, and then instantly said, no, most men are not unattractive. That's the interesting part. Because according to neuroscience, we can see that there are certain elements that actually trigger attraction in women. And passive value traits such as money, status, and looks doesn't have that type of effect as what most people are thinking, women included. Anyway, let's move on and see what she's saying here.
You're picky.
Correct.
Now, do you think the man that you're going to go out with more than likely is as selective as you?
Yeah, I would think so.
No, they're not. But you guys, on the other hand, I need to be tall.
Okay, so here's also one interesting thing. Men are not that selective because most men, even those that have a lot of passive value traits, I mean, they have good jobs, they're working out, they're looking good, but they still don't have a big pool of selection because in order to have that, you need to be able to approach women. You need to be the one that actually initiate contacts with women as a rule. Then, of course, there are a small minority of men that might have the luxury of women coming to them and open up, but that's quite rare. And even for those men, it doesn't happen that often. So when it comes to the selection of women the men have, is basically always correlated of his ability to actually approach women he doesn't know and start a conversation and from there make something happen. And how many guys do have the courage to actually approach women? Well, There are very few. Anyway, let's move on.
I need to be charming. I need to be cool. Money, she met up with some millionaires, and she said they're not interesting. They don't have a vibe. So it's very hard to please women. So the reality is, if you're going out on a date with a guy, that means he's been vetted to some degree. It's really your privilege to go out with him.
Okay, so as a closure, it's almost like Myron just want to, express the idea that things are unbalanced, that men have to work really, really hard in order to get somewhere, in order to even be able to date any woman whatsoever. They have a certain level of attractiveness, and women just are unaware of that. They're just thinking that, successful men are growing on trees, but it's not true. I mean, most men have to work really, really hard to reach a certain success. And when you look at it, and you look at the statistics of how to be successful in your career and so on, I mean, the percentage is not into our favor, really. Most men are just normal. Blue-collar workers, white-collar workers. I mean, we are just ordinary people. So does we as ordinary people, as men, are we like completely useless for women that are attractive? Well, I will tell you guys, no. Because one of the biggest reasons why it is such a big unbalance between women that we as men feel is really attractive, and those women that look at men and find that, oh, most men are not that attractive, and I seem to not be able to find the man that I want, is because men in general, and I'm telling you, a huge majority of men don't know the elements that actually creates attraction. Most men and women believes that shallowness of things or superficial things are attraction triggers that is deeply rooted in a way that can be a foundation of building relationships. But that is absolutely not true. And if we're going to look at the pure scientific research and principles out there, relationship building theory is the real thing. And it comes from interpersonal communication. Building relationship is much more about how you make, as a man, how you make a woman feel. They're going to determine if she's going to want to be in a relationship with you or not. The passive value traits are just a plus. And does that mean that a homeless guy can go up and date a beautiful woman? No, I don't mean that. But all I can say now is that average looking men with average income and with average life, most of the time are way good enough to date any women out there. So don't focus on those small minority of women that only thinking about the passive value trait. Most women are not thinking at all. Really, they're just going by the day, and then a guy going by his day, they meet each other, and suddenly she just feels good being with this guy. Whether he is multimillionaire or he's a pretty average guy, just the feeling of bonding, the feeling of connection, that is the thing that actually going to drive the whole relationship forward. So don't take this kind of, I would even say, misconceptions to your heart. Don't do it. You need to be able to learn how to communicate with women. If you do that, you will succeed. You will not have to go through all those superficial things with the belief that this is needed in order for you to attract and date women and have a good relationship. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this breakdown, and I'm going to do a lot of this breakdown in the future. So subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next video.